30th, 2025. And my name is Keith, and I'm broadcasting from Austin, Texas at Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. I do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And the goal of this stream is to be a hangout for people in the job search who can kind of have somebody to check in with every morning, get up, get a little caffeine in you, turn on the stream, and get to getting those job applications out. Staying consistent and being focused is the hardest thing in the job search. It's easy to get burned out with all the rejection, with all the ghosting. But you got to stay motivated. You got to stay on track. And that's what this stream is for. I have been a professional developer for over 30 years. And currently I manage a coding school where I help people upskill. And this is just one of my side things that I'm doing this year. I've got a bunch of side projects. And this one is one. My LinkedIn is on the screen there. If you feel like you want to connect, please do. If you know somebody else who's in the job search and could use a pal to hang out with while they're getting their job applications out, please feel free to share the stream. I stream on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch Monday through Friday. Okay. We do two things on the stream. Two things. We look at job posting reviews to get a sense of where the job trends are, and we look at news in the wider tech world and business world that might be affecting our job search and our industry. So let's just jump into it. The first thing we got here is 3 graphs, one for the last 7 days, one for the last 6 months, and one for the last year. This is for entry-level JavaScript developers. I picked JavaScript because it is the language of the web. Any individual language might be a language on the back end potentially, but if you're doing JavaScript, chances are you're working in the web applications. And if we're seeing more job postings for JavaScript developers, that means probably the web space is in pretty good shape. And there's overall growth in our industry. If we see, like we do today, that there is a downward trend of JavaScript developer jobs, that is generally not a good sign. And it's not. This has been 3-4 days, but it's looking exactly like this. Only the number just keeps getting lower, If you look at the last 6 months, we're considerably below where we were 6 months ago in the as we were kind of heading into the holidays. But seasonally speaking, if we look back a full year, we have about half, 45% less job postings now than we did a year ago at this time. So that's not great. And if we look at these numbers and we put some flags in there, we would see that this dip right here is right at the beginning of the year, right after the New Year's holiday. Then it jumped up. Then right about here was the inauguration. And since then, and the signing statements and the uncertainty that's been caused by those, we've seen pretty flat job posting numbers out. And then the tariffs hit, and they dipped, and it was flat. Then the tariffs continued. It looked like the tariffs weren't going to be turned around immediately. Then things start going off the cliff. And that's where we're at. We're in free fall. Free falling. It's not great news. But we always have to look at the bright side, and that is, if there is anything on this graph, that means that there are some jobs being posted. And some jobs being posted means there's a shot. You got a shot. Let's look at a more granular version of those numbers. This is for overall, not just entry level, but overall JavaScript developer postings. And well, it looks exactly the same in terms of form and shape. Um, we can see that the red line here is the remote jobs, and the remote jobs have been fairly consistent. They haven't seen the highs spikes, and they haven't seen the lows. Um, but that's not a bad number because those jobs you can uh, sub, uh, submit your application to. If you look at it breakdown in terms of experience, we have entry level, mid level, and senior level roles. Uh, Entry level is in blue, mid level is in red, and senior level is in yellow. Uh, we can see that those mid level roles in the last 2 weeks is what really sort of dipped. While there's been a slight downtrend on the senior and entry level roles, that swing has not been as pronounced. And if we look at remote versions, we see that the remote numbers were actually pretty strong going into late February, and then they started their decline for mid-level developers. Everything for junior and senior, again, pretty flat, not really dipping, been pretty consistent. Oh, let me open up my chat window. I can't see if there's any chats. Feel free if you have a comment or a question and would like to join the conversation, to throw it into the chat, and I'd be happy to address it in a way that makes sense. All right, let's get to the news. Again, I am on LinkedIn 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times a day sometimes because that's where the action happens in business and in tech. But also because they have a good, news feed here. Let's see what's going on in the news. Firms ditch forecasts in trade war. As earnings season continues, some of the world's biggest companies have been pulling their guidance or financial outlooks for the year due to uncertainty caused by the tariffs. That includes General Motors, American Airlines, Snap, and on Wednesday, Mercedes-Benz and Jeep owner Stellantis. Despite Tuesday's change in auto tariffs, executives have been struggling to plan due to a lack of visibility into the broader economy and supply chains, and therefore unable to forecast their own financial futures. Especially in the car makers. Like if you're just a U.S. firm and you get some widget made in China, you got one point of entry, you got one tariff. Maybe that could be moved to Thailand or some other place where the tariff isn't as high. So maybe you're considering that. But it's relatively straightforward. The product is built there. As it's imported, it gets a tariff slapped on it based on some number assigned to the country. But if you're an automaker that assembles in the United States parts from all over the place, Mexico, China, Canada, etc., now you've got many parts of your haul that are coming in from different places. They have to cross the border at different times, and will have different tariffs assigned to them. And some of these that aren't China are presumably going to be worked out in a conversation, and then the tariffs are going to be removed. So again, it's hard for them to. I do not envy them trying to forecast this because there are just too many moving parts, too many moving tariffs, and for them just to throw up their hands and go like, "Sorry, we got nothing." It makes sense. It's unfortunate, but it makes sense. Google revamps pay incentives. Google is changing the way they compensate employees, beefing up incentives for higher performers. The company will offer better bonuses and equity to Googlers who score well on their annual reviews, while lower scores may see their perks trimmed. Employees are rated on a scale from not enough impact to transformative impact. These changes are expected to be budget neutral come amid an industry-wide push for efficiency and performance. I don't know. I don't know if I care for that. I mean, I don't know if I care for that. We're all in the same boat. We're heading in the same direction. Not everybody's rowing at the same efficiency. Not everybody's moving the boat as much as they could or in sync with the rest. But I don't know if that's best addressed by micromanaging certain incentives. If they're not carrying their weight, you need to give them a couple of chances to turn it around. And if they can't, then they need to go. Like, that's just the way that business works. It's like while we're on the bus, we're all working towards this goal, and we're all going to succeed together. But if you're not contributing to that materially, then you get off the bus and you don't get the benefit of it anymore. The threat of being off the bus is, I think, more than I might lose some incentives, whatever that means. If it's just a financial thing, like, oh, you got rated lower, so you're going to get 1% bonus this year instead of a 4% bonus or whatever. Okay. But they're already making do on their salary. They're paying their bills. Presumably, they're, the bonus is just that. It's a nice to have, but it's not materially changing my life. But you know what materially changes my life? Losing my job. That's what materially changes my life. So I don't know about that. I mean, you have to go into more details, and I'm not a Business Insider subscriber, so I don't know the kinds of incentives they're withholding. But I don't know. Retailers fear a toy shortage. We talked about this. All of our toys are really created in China. All those orders have to be made right about now in order for them to produce enough and put them on slow boats and get them here in time for Black Friday. Could be a big boon for U.S. made toys and games, though. There are some of those. A lot of board games, for sure, U.S. made. A lot of them are printed in China, but those can be printed in some country with a lower tariff. Still get here in time. Let's see what we got. I'm congested. One second. I am congested. U.S. economy shrank in early 25. The U.S. economy contracted by an annualized 0.3% in the first 3 months of the year, per report by the Bureau of economic analysis on Wednesday. That interrupts a nearly 3-year trend of solid growth, with the first decreases since 2022, raising fears of recession, driving the decline. Imports surged more than 40% in a rush to beat tariffs. Meanwhile, a measure of consumer spending slowed by the most in almost 2 years. Not hard to imagine what's going on there. Meta debuts ChatGPT Challenger. Meta has unveiled its answer to ChatGPT, a standalone AI app with a social media twist. Meta AI launched LlamaCon. Meta AI launched at its LlamaCon event on Tuesday, leverages social aspects of Facebook and Instagram, allowing users to see how their friends on those platforms are using their AI assistant and vice versa. Users can like, comment, and remix shared AI posts. And like ChatGPT, they can also tell Meta to remember specific details about themselves. That seems like a bolted on desperation move. I don't see that use case being very useful. But to be clear, I deleted my Facebook account last year, so I am no dog in that hunt anymore. The White House announced changes to the U.S. automaker tariffs this week following pleas from industry leaders. According to executive orders signed by the president, car makers will not face multiple stacked tariffs, such as levies on individual materials, in addition to the 25% levies on imported vehicles or parts. Separately, companies who manufacture and sell cars in the United States will also qualify for an offset on duties paid for imported parts. Yeah. If you're a mom and pop shop down the road, toy store, you can't call up the president and go like, hey, I need me some boats filled with toys to be here on the way now. But if you're an automaker, you can get an audience with the president and change it for you. Pay for play. That's where our system works. Supermicro Computer posted preliminary quarterly earnings estimates that missed the company's own guidance by a substantial margin, deepening concerns about the AI server maker as it recovers from last year's accounting scandal. The company now expects revenue for its most recent quarter to fall between 4.5 and 4.6 billion, down from a projected 5 to 6 billion range. Supermicro blamed delayed customer platform decisions for impacting sales. They're a $6 billion company, and I'm not familiar with them. Although that's one of those names that's just so generic that I probably heard it 100 times in the last 5 years and was just like, it left no impression on me whatsoever. Uber yanks remote work policy. Uber has changed its in-office policy, upping the requirement to 3 days from 2 in June, citing an internal memo. The change, which was communicated to corporate employees on Monday, includes staff members who were previously approved to work remotely. In addition, will hire new remote roles only very sparingly. The company also raised the bar for 1 month sabbaticals, now requiring 8 full years of tenure instead of 5. How long has Uber been around? I think the most diabolical thing is changing the 1 month sabbatical requirements from 5 years to 8 years. Imagine you were less than a year away from a 1 month sabbatical, and now you have to wait another 3 years, and he'll probably replace you with AI in 2. That's funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Yeah, there we go. A 1 month sabbatical. What have we got here? Starlink's got company in orbital overcrowding, and orbital overcrowding is a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know. Space is big. Anything interesting here? Elon Musk says Grok 3.5 will provide answers that aren't from internet sources. Okay, not sure what that means. What's going on in business world? Dow drops more than 600 points as sell-off intensifies and following negative GDP data. Yeah. I have moved most of my investments away. I got probably 70% in cash right now, and the other 30 is tied up in investments. But I juggled some of those around, so I haven't been hit as hard during these fluctuations. But GLP-1s can help employers lower medical costs in 2 years. GLP-1s are involving how benefit managers can prepare. I am about 50 pounds overweight, and I have been for a couple of years now. I put on the weight, and I've sort of hit this level where I've tried several times to lose the weight, but all to no avail. I'd drop 20 and then I'd put it back on. I have not done the GLP-1s, but I am seriously considering it because I've got issues with liver issues, which is not good. Gotta take care of that. Mm. What else have we got? Any questions from the crowd? Feel free to throw them in the chat. We have about 5 more minutes. How is that job search going? You getting any feedback? Donald Trump is proving disastrous for big tech. 100 days in, Trump's Silicon Valley romance isn't what it seemed. How big tech's Faustian bargain with Trump backfired. These 4 tech billionaires who attended or donated to Trump's inauguration lost, I'm guessing, $19 billion. That's what I'm guessing. Elon has left the building. Consumer confidence shows pervasive pessimism. Pessimism. Lamakan. I was watching Matthew Berman's video yesterday about the new model that just released, the new Chinese model that just released, and he was running it locally. And I played around with installing some of these models locally, like Olama, and tried to run them. But, you know, I'm a front-end developer. I spent my whole career building interfaces that, with the goal of engaging the user. And I want and I need a front end, on this, tech demo that you created. I mean, it's kind of cool. He was running it on an Apple Mini Pro, the Pro version of the Mini. That's like a $4,000 computer. Got like 96 gigs of RAM or something like that. So I mean, it's cool that you can spend $4,000 on a computer and run a model locally at a really good clip. But again, you're just stuck in this terminal window for interacting with it. That's just a bad user experience. And I'm sure somebody's got some sort of front end that you can point to, some local backends, local models, but I haven't explored those yet. I just want to pay my $20 a month and have the latest model available to me in an interface that's not awful. And that's kind of what these AI interfaces are right now. They're not awful. They're good enough. PepsiCo to remove artificial ingredients from popular food items by end of 2025. Food dye ban prompts Southern ice cream joints' radical menu change. Proposed food dye ban affects more than candy. 10 surprising foods you need to know about. Petroleum-based artificial food dyes may drive industry to tiny bugs in Peru. Okay. It's all natural. It's bugs, but it's all natural bugs. It doesn't look like blueberries. A lot of recession talk 17 hours ago, 1 hour ago, 2 days ago, 17 hours ago. All right, we're getting down to the end of it. We're going to wrap it up here, but we will be back in 23 hours and 30 minutes. Keep at it. Get those job applications out. If you know somebody else who is in the job search and would like to hang out while they're getting out those job applications, listen to me talk about the news and jobs in the tech industry, feel free to share this with them and connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Keith. I broadcast Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time from Austin, Texas. Okay, everybody, have a great Wednesday, and we will see you again in May. Today's the last day of the month. See you again in May. All right, thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.